송원근 TV 책 속 한 장면. 오늘도 브렛 크리스토퍼스의 포트폴리오 속의 우리들의 삶, 포트폴리오에 맡긴 우리들의 삶이라고 번역을 했는데요. 자산관리 자본주의를 설명하는 책인데, 크리스토퍼스가 직접 밝힌 이 책을 쓰게 된 목적, 오늘은 이제 세 번째 얘기가 되겠습니다. 이 자산관리 회사들이 자신들의 투자 그리고 투자자들한테 이제 그 수익을 배분하는 과정에서 자신들이 하는 일을 정당화시키기 위해서 우리는 원래부터 선한 일을 하는 사람들이다. 특히 정부가 하지 못한 일들을 우리가 도와주고 있고, 또 퇴직연금자들 또는 노동자들, 이런 사람들한테 수익을 우리가 열심히 자산운용을 해서 수익을 나눠주기 있기 때문에 좋은 일을 하는 거다라고 이제 주장을 하고 있는데, 이제 그에 대한 크리스토퍼스의 반박을 담고 있습니다. 크리스토퍼스의 얘기로 직접 들어보겠습니다.
The third thing that the book tries to do is, how can I best put it, interrogate the claims that the industry itself makes about the significance of what it does. And so you don't have to spend much time thinking and reading and listening to asset managers to realize they tell a very good story about their beneficence, about the fantastic role that they play through their growing ownership of these types of assets, through their ownership of housing and infrastructure. And that story is a multifaceted story, and it's been a very powerful and compelling story. And they make arguments about the inherent goodness of what they're doing on two sides. So what they argue this case both on the asset side and on the side of their investors. So to take the first side first, what they say is it's a good thing that these types of things, these infrastructures, are owned by us rather than by other potential owners, not least the state. Because the private sector in general, but we in particular, are inherently more productive, efficient, reliable, responsible, you know the wording that gets used, as opposed to an institutionally decrepit and corrupt and inefficient public sector. So it's good that we, rather than somebody else, owns these things. Tenants get a better deal because we're more efficient, we can keep prices down, we do a better job of upkeep of these types of assets. If it's rental housing, we are more responsive to tenants because we're entrepreneurial and all that sort of stuff. So not only is it a good deal for those who rely upon or live in these assets, but it's also good for the government because the government, A, doesn't have to take these sorts of things onto the public balance sheet. We know that the governments don't want to do that, so we're relieving them of the responsibility that they don't want to own and manage these things. And this enables government to get on with what government should be doing rather than something that's outside their central ambit. So we're helping users and we're helping government. So that's the argument on the asset side. We're freeing up governments to do what they both operationally and financially to do what they should be doing. And on the investor side, the argument that they make is this. The key argument that they make is they basically say, to the extent that the funds that we establish to carry out these investments, to the extent that these funds perform well, to the extent that they are generating significant profits, we are generating profits for humble retirement savers. We are generating benefits for firefighters, for nurses, for teachers, and their retirement savings, because it's their retirement savings that we're investing. So you nasty critics out there in the media or in academia or even in government who want to kind of clamp down on us, you better be careful what you're doing, because actually the only people you're really hurting is those humble nurses and firefighters and teachers, because if you kind of clamp down on what we're doing, you are closing off the possibility that we enable them, which is generating significant returns for their retirement savings over time. So that's the argument they make continually and persistently on the retirement side. And so the book, the last thing, the third and final thing the book really tries to do is to interrogate those claims that the industry makes for itself, and say, let's actually dig into the reality of the business, and try to take a view about the extent to which those claims actually hold up, based upon the evidence of the phenomenon. And it's probably not giving too much away to say that the conclusions I come up with are basically that those claims don't really hold up to any significant degree. And I'm more than happy, and maybe this will come up in the discussion, to get into the details of why I'm critical of those claims. But there's all sorts of different reasons to do that. But that's the third thing that the book tries to do.